All right, game 4 prediction. I expect the Lakers will lose this game. Go down 3-1 and series will be over. I've been watching basketball since about 1982-83, and I've seen this type of series before. I don't think that the Lakers... I'll put it like this. The Lakers lost sight of what the playoffs are. They lost sight of what is necessary to win in the playoffs. And I've seen it before where these teams, they get to a point where it looks like, damn, we don't have an answer here, we don't have an answer there. What could we do? And then every now and again you see them reach into the bench and pull out a player that has a couple of good minutes, and then, they go on to another team and, they get a contract. But it's nothing that really works. And what I see right now is the Lakers are in a position where they are the ones trying to figure out the other team. They're the ones trying to figure out why they can't score more points, why they keep scoring 95 to 100 points every game. What's wrong? How do we fix this? And they still don't understand that there is no fix. It's the NBA playoffs, right? The game changes. So you take like the last game, Lakers shot 50+% of their shots were 3-pointers. You're not the 2017 Golden State Warriors, right? I mean, it's simple stuff. The Lakers played Jackson Hayes 7-10 minutes a game. We're operating with no center. It's the playoffs, right? The fact that when I tell you that the game slows down, right? The game slows down because it gets bigger and tougher and more physical. The defense gets better. The Lakers have a regular season team, and they're about to play a playoff game. That's why I think they lose tonight. I hope the heck they win. I hope they win. But, the Lakers almost treated the regular season like it was an audition for the regular season to come. The regular season is an audition for the wrath to come. The NBA playoffs, like no other sport, in my opinion, the game changes. Right? You can't play 82 plus games like that. Look, just think about it like this, right? Think about it in a broader sense, okay? Way back in the day, you could expect 12 to 15 good years out of a player. Now you got guys trying to reach that, 14 to 20 year range. Playing for a contract that they would have never been able to play for in the 80s. Because in the 80s, those cats went hard damn near every game. You had bad teams, yes. You could go find a clip of a bad team and see terrible defense. You could find a particular play here or there and see terrible defense. True. Very true. But generally speaking, when they had low-scoring games in the regular season, it was because those cats were playing for the playoffs. They were prepping for the playoffs. And the way they played did not get them as many contracts as you could get now. Right? All this load management stuff. I heard Trevor Lane. I'm going to keep bringing up Trevor Lane because I'm telling you, he has a huge audience. And the dude has a loser mentality. He doesn't even know it, but he has a loser mentality when it comes to the Lakers. I was listening to Trevor Lane, and he was talking about how, oh man, the turnaround is going to be so short, it really benefits the home team when you have a short turnaround. Yo, man, loser mentality, man. Loser gene. The fact that he could even say something like that and not get ridiculed. It used to be you would be ashamed to say certain things. Right? Like saying the world was flat. You believe the world was flat. You got more people saying, and I notice this, right? You got more people saying the world is flat. And they say it and they don't even expect any kind of ridicule for it. Like, my opinion is as good as your opinion. Right? Like, someone who studies science all their life is dismissed in however many characters you get on Twitter. Right? And his 170 characters is no better than yours, even though you've been studying it for forever. Trevor Lane said the Lakers are at a disadvantage. Look, man, if you're talking that disadvantage crap, and you're talking rest or sleeping in your own bed and all that, yo, man, you don't belong in the NBA anymore. There is a ceiling at which a player could be if they're taking all that crap into consideration. I hope LeBron ain't. LeBron's not a loser. I hope he's not. You know? Yeah, you know, I think the Lakers lose because I could see them, for example, another example, that I think is very indicative of how this game is going to go. They were talking about how not playing a center is a possibility. Everything is on the table. Which means that we are adjusting to them. That what worked for us all season is no longer any good. That's what that means when you say you're willing to make a starting lineup adjustment. When you say that, you are effectively saying we can't stop them if we continue to play the way we played for 82 games. That's what you're saying. And then you have to factor in that even if we need Dalton Knecht, JJ Redick is hesitant to play Dalton Knecht. Not because of his defense. And the whole Trevor Lane, it's not because of his defense. The whole world knows this, except you. It is not because of his defense. It's because JJ Redick has made a decision. And the playoffs have already started. We've already played 3 games. He throws Dalton Knecht in there and Dalton Knecht does well. That's a reflection on JJ Redick and what he didn't know he had on his own freaking team. If Dalton Knecht gets in there and plays poorly, they're going to say, see, that's why. When you gave this young man minutes, auditioning minutes, you gave him his shot in the NBA playoffs when the Lakers got their back against the wall. And they most definitely have their back against the wall tonight. They go down 3-1. No one in their right mind would put money on the Lakers winning this series. Yo, look, and this is the other. I hope I'm wrong. I like Luka. I like LeBron. I like Austin Reeves. I like our team. I'm not talking about how they play. I like the guys, right? But when you look at, I'll put it like this. There are certain things that validate what you've thought, right? And I always thought that the fact that we've gotten to the playoffs and we scratch that. I've always thought that with the ceiling that this team has, which I do think is championship potential, but with the ceiling that this team has, what are you playing for? What are you building for? What are you trying to improve? What do you know that you don't have that you need? Right? And throughout the course of the season, I just don't see the Laker management doing what they need to do to get this team to be better. I don't see them putting their neck on the line to get this team to be better. You know, I thought it was a fireable offense when Rob Pelinka went the whole postseason and did not make a single solitary move. He did nothing. You know? And then when you look at this team and you look at what they have or what they don't have, and it is just so hard to believe that they don't have a center. You got Alperen Sengun in the West. You got Rudy Gobert, who I think is overrated, but nevertheless, he's a defensive, player of the year. And on that team, let's say you disregard Rudy Gobert, right? you still have Julius Randle, who is crazy physical and built for the playoffs. I don't care what his performance has been in the past. The dude is obviously built for the playoffs the way he plays. Right? You have Naz Reid, you have Julius Randle on that team. Right? You got Jaden McDaniels. Those guys are big guys, man. So let's go over this again. You got Alperen Sengun. You got a super big Minnesota team, right? You have Nikola Jokic, right? You got Ivica Zubac. And it's like, what do the Lakers have? Memphis is playing Zach Edey. Oklahoma City has Hartenstein and that tall, skinny kid, Holmgren. What do the Lakers have? Right? I mean, in what world do you get a pass for sitting out an entire offseason? I'm talking about Rob Pelinka. He sat out an entire offseason. I'm just saying that I'm trying to give you context. So, look, if you noticed, I'm not talking about much on the court stuff, right? I'm talking about the construct of the team. You see? In the construct of the team, there are certain teams that are fine for the regular season. And then you watch them in the post and you keep saying, well, how come this team can't get over? How come they can't get over the hump? Because they're not built for it. Because they don't believe that the game changes in the postseason. They don't watch enough basketball. They're not engaged enough to understand that the game changes in the postseason. Again, so look, man, I'm doing this review and I wish I could be more positive, right? I wish I could come in here and have rainbows, warm hugs, and a cool breeze, you know what I mean? Come out my mouth and bless your ears. You know what I'm saying? But that ain't it. I don't see it. You know, as a matter of fact, I thought that the Lakers, for one, in a game like Game 3, you'd almost rather just get blown out. Right? Because those you could just flush down the toilet, chalk up to, or it just wasn't there, this, that, and the other. Right? You'd almost rather get blown out. I understand Luka was sick, too. I get that. But I've just seen games, and I've seen enough series, right? And before the series even started, I stated that Minnesota was the best seed to be fourth and under. Right? So I think they're as good or better than the Clippers. You know? They're better than, they're the best seed below the top four. In the East or the West. They're the best. You know, so I knew that the Lakers had an uphill battle. I picked them initially in 6. But I've seen series like this before, and you start hearing one team saying, we may not play a center. Right? Or effectively we're not playing a center. We're just starting Jackson Hayes, but we're not really playing a center. You start hearing, we may not play center, or maybe we'll give Dalton Knecht some minutes. Why would you give Dalton Knecht minutes now? You went the last 15 games of the season trying to find a viable reason to leave him out of the rotation. If the Lakers play good in that last 15 games, Dalton Knecht is left out of the rotation. That's what they wanted to do. You see? And that's what really is like my biggest beef. The Lakers don't want to play a center. The Lakers don't want to play Dalton Knecht. The Lakers don't want to win on 2-point shots and have an offense that encourages 2-point shots. They want to win shooting 50+% of their total field goal attempts is 3-pointers. As if they are the 2017 Golden State Warriors. That's what they want to do. It's delusional. It is straight up delusional. That's what bothers me. That's what bothers me about this game coming up. The adjustments that they need to make, they can't necessarily make, because they did not have a viable center option on the team. And if your starting center is playing 7 minutes, he is not a viable center option either. An NBA team has no center. Make it make sense. That only happens in a world in which you value three-point shooting over anything else. You are so simple-minded as far as basketball goes that you don't understand the value of a big man. That's how that happens. We're going into a gunfight with a baseball bat. That's how I feel right now. And Jaden McDaniels, Julius Randle, Naz Reid, I'm telling you what they're telling them. They're telling them, take it to these small, non-physical, weak-ass players. Take it to them. That's what they're telling them. Wear them down. You do that, we're going to be in the game. If we're in the game, we got a chance to win. They're going to try to blow us out. But if that don't work, that's the mentality they have. Now think about it. Is it possible for the Lakers to say that about another team? Take it to these small, non-physical, weak-ass players. Is it possible, even possible, for the Lakers to say that about another team? Maybe Golden State. Every other team in these playoffs, nope. It ain't. Our team is just, can we make more shots than them? That's what it comes down to. We got LeBron, we got Luka, we got Austin Reeves. Could we make more shots than them? Could they create more wide open shots? That's it. That's all we got. Rebounding, rim protection, all out the window. We sacrificed it. We said it's not important. Right? Could we win by just outshooting somebody else? And I'm telling you, in the playoffs, the answer is no. That's the answer. It's no. If you win that way, it's because you got hot or they got cold. But your system is not beating them. When I say them, I'm damn near talking about the rest of the NBA that's in the playoffs. It ain't your system. Not when you shoot 50+% of your shots is three-pointers. Hey, yeah, man, I hate to be negative, right? I want to be positive, but hey, man, I'm 47 years old. I've seen people be positive to the point that they are straight up delusional. The Lakers did not let the last game slip away. They did not score in the last 4-something minutes of that game. They lost the game. That's what you do when you lose. You do stuff like that. Okay? The Lakers, if they say that they are affected by a short turnaround between game 1 and game 2, game 3 and game 4, they're losers and they will lose. Right? You don't make those kind of excuses, man. You have a warrior, gladiator kind of mentality. You have to. It's the playoffs. The fact that you think it's okay to say you ain't come out prepared or something of that nature for game 1. I should have known then. The team that comes out and has the audacity to fix their mouth to say they weren't ready for the playoffs is the team you should pick to lose. Yeah, man, I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm worked up because, a lot of what I said about, go back and watch my old videos. A lot of what I said about what's going on with our playoff roster is manifesting itself right now. Right? And I don't want praise for being right. I wish I was wrong. I wish they came in with the small-ass lineup, the small-ass roster, and they beat everybody and won the championship. I'm happy to be wrong. But, look, man, again, I've been watching the NBA for 42 years. 43 years I've been watching the NBA. In particular, I've been watching the Lakers. And there were just so many tells that this team was not trying to win. So many tells that they were content to be very good and put butts in seats. Right? As if the metric to their success was how much financial return, the return on investment they got. That was the measure. Not winning, financial return. Yo, man, like I said, I'm old school. When the playoffs start, you need a big man down there. No rebounds, no rings. Just like Pat Riley said way back in the 80s. And he still is right about that. Well, what is he also saying when he makes a statement of that nature? He's saying if you don't play big, you don't protect the rim, you don't control the boards, right? You don't have a shot. And he's right. He is right. Are there exceptions to the rule? Yeah. The 2017 Warriors, like I keep saying. But he is absolutely right about that. And, when I hear the Lakers talk about making adjustments, they're not making adjustments toward the quote-unquote no rebounds, no rings type of play. They're talking about making adjustments towards our big man is a problem. We need to go smaller. If the Lakers were to win this round, which I don't think they will, but if they were to win this round, then they would be facing a similar issue in the next round. And so on until they got eliminated from the playoffs. Again, it's super frustrating. It's almost like when you watch your child grow up and you watch them make mistakes that they're going to regret. Right? They're not necessarily paying for those mistakes right now, but they're going to pay for them later, and they're going to regret those mistakes they made. And you try to tell them, and they just don't listen. Right? And then later on, they figure out, hey, Dad, I messed that up, blah, blah. And you know they were going to mess it up when they did it, but what are you going to do? It's super frustrating. It's hard to watch because you love them, But what could you do? That's how I feel about these Lakers. It's super frustrating. It's hard to watch, but I love them. You're going to leave a center off or not have a viable center to play in the playoffs? In the playoffs, where the game comes down to 95 points, 100 points a game. Hey, man, again, like I said, I love them, man. It's my team. It's just hard to watch them self-sabotage themselves or create unforced after unforced error. It's hard pill to swallow, hard to watch. It's frustrating. But anyway, I don't even think I'm going to throw a score out there. I don't expect the Lakers to score more than 105 points. And it's not based on what they've scored in the last 3 games. And let me say one more thing before I go. I hear a lot of people, again, Trevor Lane, co-signing the fact that, oh man, we blew one. We gave one away. We came out of our slump and we still lost. What are you talking about, man? You don't even understand what you're talking about. You didn't come out of your slump, dude. Did the Lakers shoot better field goal percentage-wise last game? Yes, they did. But you just don't get it. You think if you return to your regular season numbers, you'll have a better shot to win the game. By definition, you will have a better shot to win the game. But the game has changed. When will you understand this? Oh, man, it's frustrating, man. Frustrating. And you know what? I wouldn't name drop that dude so much if I didn't believe that there were people in the organization who listen and use him as a bellwether, right? Am I saying they do what Trevor Lane says? No, I'm not. But I do believe they listen to Kamenetsky, Sliwa, and Trevor Lane, and they do use those guys as a bellwether. What does Laker Nation want? If we get them this, is that enough to make them shut up? Is that enough to make them happy? I do believe that they use those guys as a bellwether, because I listen to them, and I often see moves made based on them, based on what they're saying. Not so much James Worthy and Robert Horry, Byron Scott. No, it's these guys. Right? Talk guys, talking heads. They listen to them. And Trevor Lane got more followers than everybody else, at least from what I've seen, as far as Laker Nation goes. And I think they listen to him. So when I hear him say stuff like that, it kind of lets me know JJ Dalton Knecht has a chance to get in this game. I heard him. Right? I predicted that the Lakers would get Dorian Finney-Smith. Not because the Lakers wanted to go and get Dorian Finney-Smith, but because the drumbeat was, we could use a 3-and-D like Dorian Finney-Smith. That drumbeat was coming from the talking heads. And I just wasn't surprised that they went out and did that. You know, was it a bad move? I'm not saying it was a bad move. What I'm saying is that I feel like I got to be on here. That's why I call it Pure Uncut Lakers, man. I got to be on here to give the raw. Because if I don't give the raw, then these talking heads are just going to keep talking. You know, and a lot of them are just wrong. I don't care if you say, yeah, well, you know, that's your opinion or that's their opinion. I don't care, man. I don't care what you're saying about my opinion and their opinion. I'm telling you I'm right about some of this stuff and they're wrong. Right? The playoffs, the game slows down. The game gets bigger and more physical. I'm right. I don't care what anybody says. I'm right about that. So knowing that, when you come into the series or into the playoffs with no center, you're wrong. Period. You know, if you argue with me about this, you're the flat earther. Arguing with 5,000 years of knowledge. That's what you are. I've been watching this game too long not to not know this. Don't ask me not to know something. See, that's what I'm talking about, man. That's why I said you could be optimistic to the point of delusional. When people ask you not to know something, they're asking you not to care about your own well-being. That's what they're asking you to do. You know, I tell people, my son, I got to tell him to move this like this and like this and like this. Because if he doesn't, a cop may get scared of him and shoot him. When he gets past the age of accountability. Right? So about 12, 13 years old, every black man knows they got to tell their son, yo, man, you got to move this way. Because if you don't move this way or you're caught in this situation or that situation, you're entering a situation in which a cop could get involved. And if that cop is racist or just scared of you or whatever, he could shoot you. And people turn to me and say, oh, well, you know, you're kind of playing on race, this, that, and the other. That world really doesn't exist. Doesn't exist to who? To you? You tell me that world doesn't exist. I'm supposed to believe you? The definition of supremacy. You telling me my world doesn't exist and your world does. Right? So I listen to you, and my son goes out and he gets caught in some funny ass situation, right? In which he either goes to jail or gets shot by a cop or something of that nature, right? That's on me. Because I was optimistic listening to you to the point that I was delusional and I denied what I knew. And I'm not doing that. I don't live my life like that. And I don't live my life like that in speaking about my son's life. I don't live my life like that in speaking about the Lakers, obviously. And I won't. You are wrong if you think shooting 50 plus percent of your shots is 3-pointers is going to be effective in the NBA playoffs. You are wrong. I am right. Okay? And that's what it is. And that's how I'm coming at this, man. I'm coming at it like that. So if the Lakers can't find that gene that says, yo, you better play hard as hell. I'm not talking about physical exertion. I'm talking about your game needs to be physical. It needs to match everything they do. Julius Randle hits you in the face, you elbow him in his eye. Yes, that is the game I'm talking about. And make the NBA go back and look at it. Right? Jaden McDaniels trips you, Luka. And he definitely deliberately tripped Luka Doncic. Right? You run up on him and smack him in his mouth. Even if you don't do that, you got to move like it's in you. If the Lakers do that, they'll win this game. They will win this game. But if they don't do that, then they don't have the roster is not built for them to win this game. Right? I mean, even if they were to retaliate, like I said, LeBron should retaliate against Julius Randle. I'm not saying out of the blue in this particular game, but I was talking about last game. When I say LeBron should have retaliated against Julius Randle or Luka should have retaliated against Jaden McDaniels, yo, it's not about actual retaliation. It's about having it in you. In 1984, in the famous clip where Kevin McHale clotheslined Kurt Rambis, right? The Lakers tried to be more physical and more dirty than the Celtics. And it did not work. And that's why the Celtics won that series. Because they couldn't go to a place that wasn't in their nature. Right? It's not really crazy for a man to want to retaliate against someone who hit them or caused them physical harm. Just stay there then, Lakers. Okay? Stay there. You don't have to go hit somebody in the face, right? Or trip them. Or initiate a physical, dirty play. But just remember, you're a grown man. You don't have to get smacked in the face and tripped either. That's not acceptable. Recognize who you're messing with. Okay? You're messing with a team that will do that to you. If the Lakers do that, they will win Game 4. They'll win Game 4 and they'll win this series. If they do not do that, because the roster is not built for playoff basketball, they will lose Game 4 and they will lose this series. That's the difference. And that's what I don't think JJ Redick understands. Anyway, this is Pure Uncut Lakers. Yo, man, I got worked up on this one. Because they got me hot, man. Lakers got me hot. Because Lakers got me hot, and these talking heads got me hot. I don't like how they talk. I don't like how they think. When you hear me speak on these games, did you hear me say a word about a referee? Man, F a referee. If you're worried about the referee, you got some loser in you. Right? It's got to be bigger than that, man. It's got to be bigger than that. So anyway, let's go Lakers, man. Yo, this is Pure Uncut Lakers. Please like and subscribe, and I'll hit you up after the game.